Hi guys, after a few posts I've seen being dotted around, I thought I'd do a quick video regarding dog communication. So when we're discussing dog training in general, we tend to focus on how we can get the dog to understand us, and a lot of the time in a general sense, we forget about the dog is also communicating with us at the same time. But we seem to neglect that. Now, I remember when I was younger, we used to have the similar sort of rules that most people I speak to my age and over, and well, around my age and over, where your parents or your grandparents would tell you, leave the dog alone while it's eating, otherwise it will bite you. Leave the dog alone when it's sleeping, otherwise it will bite you, and so on and so on and so on. We used to respect that. And dogs were much more well adjusted back then, in my opinion, than they are now. Now, the reason for that, I think, is because we, as a nation or as a species, have decided that dogs should tolerate everything that we do. Why? I completely disagree. I don't think dogs should tolerate everything we do at all. I don't think they should have to fit in with us as such. And I think it's very important that we understand that they do have feelings too. They can feel stress, they can feel anger. I mean, I don't know, that's debatable, but they can get frustrated. They can get anxiety. They can get all these sorts of things. But we seem to just assume that they shouldn't, just because they're a dog. So it's really important that we do this. So I've got a few videos that during this video that I'm going to show you of some demonstrations about dog communication, and these dogs are doing their best to communicate as best they possibly can to tell the human. And unfortunately, in these videos, the human's ignoring it and thinks it's either funny or they just don't get it. So it's really important that we listen to our dogs. Now, all of these videos involve children. Okay, now the children in the videos are not to blame for anything that happens. It is solely the adults, the owners of the dogs, that are to blame. The children that are old enough to learn should have been taught certain ways to behave around dogs, which they clearly haven't. But more importantly, is about the person understanding that the dog does have feelings too, and they should be stepping in a lot sooner. And most of these can be avoided. So the first video is a video of a Staffy and a very, very young baby. And the Staffy is clearly showing signs of overstimulation. Is probably the best way to describe it. So if you watch the video, you'll see lots of tongue licking. Okay, so the tongue will come out quite often. So licking of the lips. Okay, pulling the baby back towards them, quite a rigid demeanour, ears pinned a little bit. This is all stress-related behaviours. Now, although couldn't say if the baby's in danger here, but someone may be at some point. The person keeps pulling the baby away because it's cute, according to them. The Staffy's trying to pull the baby back. Have a look at the video, and you'll see what I mean. It's very uncomfortable, because we can see that this is going to start to go towards something that we don't want in this dog.
Allez, on reprend le bébé. Allez. Non, on laisse le bébé. Allez. Il est trop mignon. Non, non, doucement, doucement. Doucement, doucement, tu vas l'écraser, Janko. Ah, celui-là, couché, couché.
Okay, guys, so hopefully you can see what I mean there. So again, it's very uncomfortable because the Staffy is clearly, over-guarding this dog. Over-guarding this baby. So potentially, the Staffy could bite the parent or anybody that goes near the baby. But on the other side of it, there's no reason why the dog wouldn't grab the baby by its teeth and try and pull the baby away, and obviously, of course, injuring the baby itself. So I've got no doubts that the Staffy's trying to protect the baby rather than be aggressive towards it, but it's not a risk that I would be willing to take. So the next one I've shared before, actually. Now this one is very uncomfortable. So this one's of a Rottweiler, and this dog is fantastic. Now, the reason why I'm saying this dog is fantastic is because it is doing everything. I'm talking everything within its power to demonstrate how uncomfortable this dog is with what's going on. So this young girl keeps cuddling this Rottweiler, and the dog is trying its very best to tell this girl that it's not comfortable with it, and it's showing teeth. It's doing all these sorts of demeanor. Now, the problem is with dog behaviors, we tend to, as humans, focus on one certain thing. So we can see the showing of the teeth as one of two things normally. So aggression, or it's smiling. So some dogs do smile, and there'll be a video at the end of this just to lighten the mood a little bit of a dog that actually is smiling. Now, smiling is a loose term. It's not technically a smile. It's just a demonstration of a calming behavior. Okay, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but it's just a demonstration of calm behavior, no threat. Okay, however, you need to look at more than just the one behavior. So, like for instance, a wagging tail. Everyone goes, "Oh, dog was wagging its tail. It must be happy." Actually, no. There's lots of dogs out there that will wag their tail and then bite you. So you need to look at the whole picture. So if you look at this Rottweiler, it's showing its teeth. So the person filming it is clearly thinking it's smiling, okay, when it clearly isn't. Most people who are going to be able to see this quite clearly, there's lots of wide eyes. There's lots of chopping the lips, licking the lips, chopping the mouth. When the child backs away and the dog kind of just goes all rigid and goes back in again, you can see the teeth immediately come back out again. This dog isn't playing and it's doing everything in its power. Its next stage is going to be to bite this child. Now, I don't know the history of this. I don't know what happened. Okay, the child does not get bitten in this video. Okay, but it is very uncomfortable, so just be prepared for that. And the dog is doing its very best to display that it's very uncomfortable, and the person filming it is solely to blame. And this is the type of thing that always ends up in the news afterwards. Okay, so like I said, guys, very uncomfortable viewing. And as I left off just before that was me saying about this is the one that ends up in the news. Because normally it's the person who came out of nowhere. I don't understand. I don't understand why it attacked my child. Well, I do, because it was trying to tell you for probably weeks and months on end that it wasn't comfortable. And in the end, it just went, okay, right, I've had enough. You're not listening to me, so I'm going to put my teeth on you. Okay, now unfortunately, a small child versus a Rottweiler is not going to end up very well, of course. Rottweiler is a big, powerful breed. So again, it's just another case of a human not listening to a dog. And it's not about the dog not being allowed to display certain behaviours. And a lot of the problems that I find with dogs is because we have been ignoring them. And we've decided that because we're humans, they should do exactly as they're told. And I completely disagree. Now, the last of the 3 videos of the confrontations, now I will pre-warn you, the baby in this video does get bitten. Okay, so you don't see anything, you don't see blood, you don't see anything like that, but the dog does turn around and the dog does bite the baby. So if you are a little bit with this, now is the time to stop or fast forward the video to the end. But this dog, again, I will reiterate, does put its teeth on this baby. So this baby is doesn't look like it's old enough to walk yet. It's on all fours and it keeps going towards the dog. Okay, now this one's a little bit more subtle for those who have no idea about dog behaviour. This is a bit more subtle what the dog's doing. But for those who are interested and those who do know, you can see the dog's body is very, very rigid. And it's avoiding eye contact. So it's a very key thing. So it tends to look away. So like this. Okay, and then that sort of behaviour, okay? So it's looking to the side, okay, looking at you. So it's trying to avoid the situation, and that in itself is demonstrating how uncomfortable the dog is. And again, we're not listening. Having said that, and this goes back to the Rottweiler post as well, having said that, it is down to us to educate children. Now, the baby, too young to educate, obviously, but we should remove the baby from that situation and not put the dog in the position in the first place. But definitely the girl in the Rottweiler video, she's old enough to know, okay? And the parents are old enough to tell that child, don't do that to the dog. That was the sort of age I was at when my granddad used to tell me when he had a German Shepherd, leave the dog alone when it's eating, leave the dog alone when it's sleeping, okay? And if the dog is demonstrating something it doesn't like, I was the one that got told off by my granddad, not the dog. Okay, so in this last video, again, the baby does get bitten. I think the baby's okay. It does cry afterwards and things like that. I haven't seen anything in the news about it. It's quite an old video, but I never saw anything in the news that the baby suffered anything more than superficial wounds. However, you know, I would imagine the dog got told off for it and maybe rehomed, put to sleep. Who knows? I don't really know the outcome of the dog. But again, is this the dog's fault? Absolutely not. This is solely the fault of the human. Okay, again, viewer discretion is advised. The baby does get bitten.
לא להרביץ לה. ותיזהר אתה לא להתהפך לשולחן. זה הזנב שלו.
Okay guys, so I suppose that the point of this video really was to just kind of highlight that we need to listen to our dogs more. We are ignoring them, and the fact that we are ignoring them and not listening to them is causing more behaviour problems within the dog world. Listen to your dogs. It doesn't matter whether it's a Chihuahua, it doesn't matter if it's a Great Dane, it makes no difference. They've all got similar sort of behaviours when they're trying to tell you they're uncomfortable, and we need to look at it. So look at the whole picture. Is the dog rigid? Is it got a slow wagging tail? Is it baring its teeth? Is it looking away from me? Is it licking its lips? Is it rolling on its back, showing its belly? That's not necessarily means I want a belly rub. That's also a sign to say I'm a little bit stressed out in this situation. Okay, is it crawling towards me? Is it blinking like that too much? You know, all of these things. There's so many body cues that they give you to try and communicate, and unfortunately, we are failing our dogs. Okay, guys. So listen to your dogs now. Last video I want to show you, just to lighten the mood a little bit. It's just a little funny one I got. I think it's from America, of a collie which is smiling, like I was saying earlier. It's just sitting there smiling. It's got his eyes a little closed and things like that. But in this, the dog is just simply demonstrating what we call a calming signal, which is to say it's actually no threat. And the reason it's funny is because next to it is a beware of the dog sign. Okay, guys, I'm just going to leave you with this video as the last one, just to kind of brighten the mood a little bit. But again, last point, listen to your dogs, okay? If you ever feel you're not too sure of your dog's communication skills towards you, film it, send it to me. I'll have a look and see what I think. Okay, guys, enjoy yourselves, and again, listen to your dogs.